Hey guys, how you doing? This is take two. For some reason, remember, I think I told you guys that like 2 weeks ago, my Logitech webcam software stopped working, and I did everything other than jump through a lit fire to get it to get it to work. So what I ended up doing is I installed Minicam, and Minicam replaced whatever driver was missing. That Logitech was either corrupted or wasn't reinstalling it even after you install the software, reboot the computer, run the registry cleaner program, CCleaner, reboot the computer again, and then reinstall Logitech, and it still wasn't working. I uninstalled QuickTime, I uninstalled iTunes, and rebooted the computer again, and the software still wasn't working. So I installed Minicam, and boom, it started working again. So I don't know what's going on with the software. It seems to be some kind of driver name issue. You would think that it would have been fixed by now, because looking back, it seems like this problem's been going on since like 2010. This has been happening off and on with different computers. So I'm pretty sure that when Skype updated, that's what screwed up my camera software, because it was the only program, when you go to your control panel programs, you can check to see the most recently installed software, and everything was working fine. Then Skype ran an update, and then that's when it stopped working properly. So yeah. Okay, finished items. I have two finished items. One is a baby blanket, which is going to be going to my friend out in Arizona or Nevada. Is it Nevada? One of those states. So it's going to be going out there. So this is it folded up. And you can't see the colors good, but this is like a chartreuse green. And then this is not white. This is actually a baby yellow trim. And then this is white. So yeah, it's feminine without being girly. Because y'all know me, I'm sick of pink. The other item I finished was this tam, and so it's got a lot of room in there for dreadlocks. I made it nice and slouchy. See if my daughter wants it. If not, then it'll just go in my stack of items to gift to people when birthdays and all that other stuff come up. Works in progress. I have one work in progress right now that I'm actively working on. I haven't touched Marissa's shawl since the last time I showed it to you guys. If I showed it to you guys, I don't remember. But once I finish this blanket, I'm gonna start on my husband's sweater again. So because the shawl and stuff, that stuff can wait. But this is the blanket I'm working on. I started this blanket Saturday, doing the hangout that several of the crafters had. And this blanket is for a twin bed. It's for my son's bed. And once I finish it lengthwise, then I'm going to put a nice border on it. And so it'll be plenty long enough for his purposes. And this is how I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of my stash. I'm going to just go on a blanket bonanza. Finish one blanket, do another blanket. Make Junior and Marissa, they don't have big girl blankets. I don't remember. I don't know if I made one for Andrea either. So I know Putin used to have one, but I think it got tore up by one of somebody. They got cut some kind of way. So I think I'm just gonna do 4 blankets for all my kids, twin size, something they can wrap up in while they're sitting watching TV and stuff, and put on their side of the bed if they want to. They want one for their boyfriend and significant other, then they need to go buy the yarn. Oh, and pay me for it. Until they marry you, he's not getting a blanket for me. I'll make him hats and scarves. So that's what I'm working on. And then for spinning, I've done a lot of spinning. Well, it was fast spinning. It might sound like a lot to y'all, but it ain't that much to me because I could have had 6 or 7 spindles filled up if I was really putting effort in it or more. So I'm still spinning on, I think I did a video, but I didn't post it. So I'm spinning this. This is some Falkland that I test dyed with some greener shade dyes. And so this is the third spindle. These are the first two. Now, once your cop, and the cop is the yarn that's beneath or above your whorl on your spindle, depending on if you have a top whorl, mid whorl, or bottom whorl spindle, or Turkish drop spindle. Turkish drop spindle can be in the mid whorl or bottom whorl as well. So once your cop, depending on how fine you're spinning, and I'm spinning for a sock weight yarn, so I should have enough to make a shawl. I won't have enough for a pair of socks because it was only about 2.5 ounces of fiber, but I should have enough to make like a little shawl. With somebody have enough to make a little shawl. But once your cop gets too heavy, your yarn will start pulling and breaking and pulling apart while you're trying to spin. That's a sign it's time to switch to another spindle, because the weight of the spindle plus the weight of the yarn of the single is breaking your yarn for that particular gauge of yarn, the thickness that your goal is to spin. So you need to get another yarn. Now all spindles are different. Not all spindles weigh the same. This spindle is actually lighter than this one. This spindle is a heavier spindle, and then this spindle is lighter than all three of them. So a trick that you can use to try and stay in with the diameter, to keep the diameter consistent, is to take some of your yarn from your other spindle and use it as a leader for the spindle that you're picking up to start spinning from again. And that way you'll go ahead and start out in gauge when you start spinning on a new spindle, and you just try to maintain that as you spin the rest of the fiber. So that's those three, and I'm hoping I'll be able to spin the rest of this on this spindle. If not, I have plenty of other spindles. So just like I need to do a spindle video where I just take each spindle and show it to you guys. Okay, so the other thing I've been spinning is, and I've been working on this for a while, I just pick it up here and there. There's a lot of fiber, a lot of yarn on this spindle shaft. I don't know if you guys can see. The pink is actually a little bit darker than that. There you go. It's a darker pink than that. But I have this much. This is bamboo. And I have this much of it left. I bought it off of Etsy. I will put the name of the shop in the description. I don't know if the shop is still open or not because it's been years since I purchased this. But it's this bamboo spins up very nicely. It's and like I said, the color is showing up a lot paler than what it actually is. So I've been working on that for a while. And then I test spun some of the churro fiber, and I believe it's Chewy's fleece, that I have in my come on, focus. There we go. That I have in my it's back there, and I just wanted to test spin some of that, so I spun up this to play around with that. This is what happens to my spindles, test spins, as well as odds and ends that are left over on my bobbins after I apply. They end up in this bag right here. All this is like hand spun odds and ends from the spindles. Most of it is from the spindles. Some of it is from the spinning wheel. So I'm going to show you guys my very first yarn, and then I'm going to show you guys my second yarn. Okay. This, and it's a 3-ply, it's Navajo ply. This is my very first yarn. Okay. I keep this as a constant reminder to let me know exactly how bad a spinner I was when I started. And also never to ever buy cheap fiber like this ever again. Well, I had to wash this. It's probably felt a little, but I had to wash this several times. Because it was very sheepy smelling. Very poor quality fleece. It almost looks, the color reminds me of a cow. Of a cow's coloration. And horrible fleece. It came with my first spindle, which my first spindle I gave away a long time ago because it was horrible. One of those toy wheel spindles. It wasn't balanced. It was just horrible. So that was my first yarn. This is my second yarn. That me and my son, we dyed it as an experiment for school. We used red onion skins. You would think that the yarn would have been red. It's this pretty golden color. It's like almost a blonde. That's how it dyed. Gonna focus. Are you gonna focus? There we go. And this is some mohair. And so this was my second spin on spindles, on a drop spindle. And this is still a single. And my fingernails are dirty because I've been up under the house. One of the air conditioner returns, one of the heat pump returns. Well, after the fire, the contractor that they were using, the heat and air contractor, was supposed to clean all the ductwork and stuff out, determine whether or not the heating units had been damaged or anything like that. Well, whoever did the work, either when they unhooked it to, hook it up to whatever machine they used to clean the ductworks, they didn't hook it up back up. So I was in the basement and I'm like, why is it so warm in the basement? I haven't done any laundry. And so I start going around looking at all the different returns and stuff. And lo and behold, up on like the basement, and then you have the crawl space that goes under the living room and stuff. So I'm looking down there and I'm looking at this one return and I'm like, it was at an odd angle. So I crawl up under there and I'm looking and I reach to touch it and it just comes all the way apart. The tape had been removed from around it. And whoever was putting it back together did a piss poor job, and so it fell apart. So yeah, so I was down up under there sewing together with some nylon thread these two returns, so that just sewing them together. And then took sheets of plastic and I cut the plastic and wrapped the plastic around the area that I had sewn together. And then I pulled the insulation sleeve closed, and then we duct tape. We put plastic around the insulation sleeve area where they were coming together again. And then my husband, he brought duct tape home, and we went and we duct taped that area so that it's airtight now. But I shouldn't have had to do that. That's the thing about it. So yeah, so that's one of the things I was doing today. But anyway, getting back to my bag of goodies. Sometimes when I send people, like if I do giveaways and stuff, I'll grab a couple of these out of this bag and I'll send it off to them. Like this one is a 3-ply alpaca. It's very, very soft. This is spindle spun. And this is a 3-ply, and it's one of my odds and ends. I just had, like, you know, like when you go to some of the fiber festivals and stuff, sometimes people give you little fiber samples and stuff. I collect those, and then I'll spin a skein, or like when I'm walking around the fiber festival, I'm spinning while I'm walking around, and and I just keep that, and I'll make a skein of yarn. So that's what this is. It hasn't been washed, so that's why it's like just a little bit curly in places. I got into my mind that I was going to take some of it, like this is alpaca. It's very soft. And I'm gonna do a project from it one day, but I ain't I haven't done anything yet. This has some yak, and it has some brown Shetland in it, and it has some merino, and it has a little bit of an alpaca blend in there. So this is another one of those remnant skeins, a little bit off of different bobbins. This is some punta. This is a alpaca and flax blend. No, linen. Alpaca and linen. It was an alpaca and linen blend. This is merino. Yeah, something is not together good in there. I gotta find out where it's coming from. So this was some merino in that pumpkin spice fiber. And this is another one that had some churro, a little bit of alpaca, and looks like some of that yak is in there. This is what was left over for some faux cashmere that was actually ended up being purchased by one of my knitting buddies. And it's just full of other ones. Like this is a sample of what was left over from what I spun for some blue face Leicester. And yeah, so I just got this bag. This alpaca is so freaking soft. And there's some stuff in here that I need to find because it's apparently come loose. This is really soft too. So anyway, I have this bag of odds and ends that I keep. And then from time to time, I'll give away some of it, like I said. And it's a good way to save samples and maybe do a project from your samples one day. So that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys later.